In the world of anime, you have certain anime that have exploded in popularity over the years, whether it's the masterful storytelling or being put into the hands of a very talented animation studio to elevate the series. And then you have several anime series that have had their reputations ruined or had a decline as the series goes on over time. Whether it is the show having a poorly adapted anime, or maybe the story just going in a completely different direction. Out of the anime series that have experienced a type of downfall and ruined reputation, I think that the One Punch Man anime might have one of, if not the greatest downfall in anime. From what started out as a defining anime with its first season during the 2010s, became an absolute punching bag from the anime community because of what happened to seasons 2 and 3. So this video is going to be going through how the One Punch Man anime experienced the greatest downfall. So before looking at how the One Punch Man anime had its downfall, we first need to look at how it rose to popularity, because that is important in seeing why the downfall was so detrimental in the long run. Season 1 of One Punch Man released in October of 2015, and it was animated by the studio Madhouse. And Studio Madhouse is definitely one of the more well-known and well-respected animation studios. They have produced many anime series like Death Note, Parasite, the 2011 Hunter x Hunter anime, and most recently Frieren. So Madhouse has a great reputation of producing popular anime series that are well beloved by fans, and One Punch Man Season 1 was no exception. On top of being animated by Studio Madhouse, Season 1 also had an exceptional team of freelance animators, animation directors, and industry veterans. And the main director of the anime who put this whole team together was Shingo Natsume. They were like a dream team of animators working at Madhouse, and was probably the best team that has ever worked on an anime project in Madhouse. On top of having talented animators, their production schedule was actually well handled. The animators were given a lot of time and creative freedom to adapt the manga series into the anime. And with the One Punch Man manga remake that is illustrated by Yusuke Murata, known for having incredible artwork and panels, Studio Madhouse was able to adapt the Murata style from the manga into the anime, with top-tier animation for its fight scenes. The great camera work and the fluidity in its action scenes was what really elevated the series and made it a staple when it first came out. So having a dream team of animators with a healthy production schedule, and the anime having adapted the highly detailed artwork from Murata's manga, is what made One Punch Man Season 1 into one of the biggest anime series in the last decade. Many people actually got into anime from watching this show because it has a very simple premise. It's about a guy who can defeat his opponents in one punch. And the show even resonated well with the more veteran anime watchers because they liked how the show was pretty much acting as a parody of certain tropes in battle shonen. Like characters having training arcs to beat the main villain, but Saitama was already the strongest at the beginning because he already had his training routine. Or when you see the villains transform into their giant monster forms, saying their speeches, only for Saitama to just destroy them with no effort. This type of comedy was received well by the audience, and it made it quite unique amongst other action-based anime. And the story wasn't too complex for newer anime watchers. You don't even have to be a huge anime fan, but you can still get into One Punch Man. So with all of its benefits, like having a highly produced anime, a simple story making it very accessible for new fans, and it being a parody that would poke fun at other battle shonen tropes, it's no surprise why One Punch Man Season 1 was so successful. But unfortunately, all good things come to an end, and with the next 2 seasons of the anime, this is where things start to go wrong. With the ending of One Punch Man Season 1, after the well-beloved Saitama vs Boros fight, the expectations for Season 2 of the series was extremely high. Fans were anticipating the next season to be as spectacular as the first season was, if not more. But as I said earlier in the video, Season 1 started in 2015 for only 12 episodes, and then Season 2 finally released in 2019. That was 4 years of waiting and anticipation for the next season, so expectations were high with this season. However, once Season 2 came out, fans noticed something was different about the show. The art and composition wasn't as good as Season 1 was, and the animation quality of the fight scenes weren't anywhere near as good as it was back then. Now I personally don't think it looked as bad as people say it is, but it still wasn't anywhere near the same level of Season 1. And this is from a season that was released 4 years after Season 1. With most other seasonal anime, the next season will release from 1 to 2 years after the previous season, since it gives the animators more time to work on the next season and to also take a break, since they're not sticking to a weekly schedule. And fans also won't get too impatient with the wait, since it's only going to be a year or sometimes 2 years to wait for the next season. But One Punch Man Season 2 was released 4 years after Season 1, which is very uncommon. Even though Attack on Titan had the same 4-year wait between Seasons 1 and 2, at least Season 2 wasn't a downgrade in its quality, and with the crazy moments that happened in Season 2, it made Season 2 worth the wait. But the same couldn't be said for One Punch Man Season 2. So you can just imagine the frustration and the disappointment from the audience when they expected something of equal or higher quality than Season 1, but they instead got the opposite. And the major reason for this decline in quality was the studio change from Studio Madhouse to JC Staff. Now JC Staff isn't necessarily a bad studio. They tend to be more experienced in slice of life and comedy anime, rather than high action based anime. The reasons why One Punch Man changed studios was because the original freelance team that worked on season 1 all moved on to other projects, including the director Shingo Natsume, and the production committee wanted One Punch Man to be produced onto a more cost-effective production, which explains the budget cut in season 2 and why they changed studios. So with the original dream team that worked in season 1 leaving the project and moving the anime to a studio that is less experienced with action anime than Madhouse, this explains the dip in quality for season 2. What made season 1 so appealing was how well they adapted the art style of Murata's manga with high quality animation, but season 2 wasn't able to replicate that same level of quality. The art was still pretty good, but season 2 was definitely a step down, which really damaged its reputation, considering how much hype that season 1 generated when it came out. And additionally, the schedule was a lot tighter compared to before, which also contributed to the subpar quality. For an anime to be well produced with consistent art and animation, it's not about the budget, but the actual scheduling and production time that really leads to a higher quality anime. So with season 2, the team that originally worked in season 1 was gone, the series changed studios due to cost effectiveness, and fans had to wait 4 years for the next season, only for it to look subpar compared to season 1. And this really hurt the reputation of One Punch Man. But sadly, it doesn't get any better from here. After the disappointment of season 2, season 3 was announced to be in production. And with its announcement, people were starting to be skeptical about season 3, since it was still going to be animated by JC Staff. But looking at the poster for season 3, the art and character designs did look pretty good, so there was a bit of hope for the latest season. Especially since the season was announced in August of 2022, which was a little over 3 years before season 3 released. So fans were thinking that the producers were going to learn from their mistakes and actually give the animators more time to work on season 3. But apparently, when they announced season 3 in 2022, they never actually started production during that period. JC Staff was busy working on other anime, so they actually delayed the production until they were finished working on those projects. So the production for season 3 reportedly started from around early 2025, and season 3 released in October of 2025. So that means One Punch Man season 3's production lasted for less than a year, which is absolutely crazy since most of the action-based anime with high quality take around 2 years. So for One Punch Man season 3 to have less than a year of production time shows how poor the scheduling was for the animators to stick to. And season 3 came out in 2025, which is 6 years after the ending of season 2. That was an even longer wait than it was between seasons 1 and 2, so this only frustrated people even more. And then when season 3 comes out, the quality was even worse than season 2's. Instead of learning from their mistakes, they instead just made them even worse, increasing the damage that was done to the reputation of the One Punch Man anime.
Not a great plan.
The fights were average at best, and there was a lack of fluidity in them. The sound design was generic, the character movements were stiff, and the highly detailed art style from Murata wasn't adapted accurately into the anime, with some scenes just butchering the manga panels that they adapted from. And with season 3's adaptation, they actually adapted the Monster Association arc from the original webcomic series, instead of adapting the updated manga remake that was illustrated by Yusuke Murata. This made certain narratives different than Murata's manga version, and it omitted the expanded backstories of some characters. There was even a production error where they made the Royal Ripper into a female during his fight against Garo, even though the Royal Ripper is supposed to be male. And this is the result of having a very rushed production schedule, where animators were misidentifying the gender of one of its characters, and they didn't have the time to correct it. What was once highly praised for its great visuals and animation during the action scenes became the butt of the joke when it came to the topic of poor animation. People now poke fun at One Punch Man for the state it has been recently, when this was never the case just a decade ago. One Punch Man Season 3 Part 2 has also been announced to release in 2027, and people just don't have any excitement anymore. Its reputation has been ruined to the point where it has lost the trust of its audience, so they are instead just going to stick with reading the manga from now on. And that has been the downfall of the One Punch Man anime. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you'd like to see more anime content, please subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next video.